I'm going to test this out right quick on your app. Now keep in mind that I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit.
All righty, welcome to Seen and Known. This is our very second, actually, conversation inside of this series, and I'm incredibly excited to share. I'm probably going to say that every time because this is the work that I just feel called to right now, and this particular series is going to be near and dear to me because I get to connect with some of my favorite people and talk about the parts of ourselves that we don't always get to share that I think is meaningful for the audience. So I am your host, Dr. Joy, and like I said, this is Seen and Known. This is an intimate conversation that sits at the intersection between visibility and vulnerability. And the series explores the space between what it means to feel seen and to really be known. And this is especially for artists, for creators, and for leaders whose work is often visible, but whose inner world isn't necessarily fully understood. And it is my belief that if you're going to really appreciate an artist's work, then you have to at least attempt to get to know their inner world, that context for how they think about or move through and experience the world matters for what they create. And it really does help us really relate to and connect with their work in ways that are maybe not always as accessible. So, as I mentioned, I'm super excited. This is a conversation series, which means every time we come and gather here, there will be a guest. And this week, I'm inviting my longtime friend and fellow creative, Terrence Goodluck Harden, and we are chatting about what it means to be a sellout. Like, in a climate where clicks are currency. We want to talk today about how impactful the algorithm and analytics are when it comes to creating our art. So, before we jump into that, I want to tell you a little bit more about what I have going on here because Seen and Known is one part of a larger ecosystem for what I'm sharing and how I'm sharing in the world right now. So, if Seen and Known is an intimate conversation, then How to Reinvent Yourself is about personal revelation. This is where I share my journey of embracing my creative self and I share what I'm learning and how I'm navigating some of the difficult, challenging, not so pretty, not so sexy moments. And of course, and through all of that, I'm encouraging you to embrace your own journey in case you find yourself reimagining or reinventing who you get to be and how you get to be in the world. There's also Daydreaming Out Loud, which is about collective imagination. This is where we really use daydreaming as a practice of seeing and embodying the feeling of what it is like to live in a world that we're all still co creating. We've explored things like freedom and finding safety and belonging, and of course, embracing the unknown. Because, as I said, we are still building this world. We don't quite know what it is, but embracing that and trusting ourselves to navigate that can really change how we experience what we're going through. And so, Daydreaming Out Loud is a space for collective imagination. We have Hello Human, which is a podcast that I get to co host with one of my dear friends, colleagues, and classmates from grad school. This is about intellectual stimulation, where Aaron Jones, my co host, and I, we invite you to a deeper reflection on that intersection between tech and humanity, right? Like, we are really out here just living with robots. I don't know if y'all see these self driving cars and these little robots that deliver food, even our phones. Like, we really out here living with robots. And I'm not sure we're really tapped into what that actually means. So, Hello Human is a space where we really sort of pull out some of those details and unpack some of the questions we might have about what it means to coexist with robots. And then finally, we have Unpopular Opinions, which is about cultural interrogation. This is where we shake up cultural norms and ask questions or share our unpopular opinions about stuff that we just kind of accept as true and normal. And this is just what it is, right? So we're like, I don't really know. Right. So each of these spaces serves a different purpose, whether you want to, engage in intimate conversation about the creative journey or learn from personal revelations and be inspired by me sharing my own journey, or you want to gather together for some collective imagining around what is possible, what's available, and how we can participate in creating that. Or if you're just curious about the tech world and you're interested in thinking more consciously about how we navigate life with robots, or you want to hear me talk about some stuff that like you probably not used to me talking about, but it lives here in this mind and it's time to let it all out. Wherever you might find me, I want to encourage you to look me up, connect with me, and join me on this journey of sharing, sharing, sharing out loud as I am leaning into my creative self. And all of those things you'll find here on YouTube and all over the place. So if you want to stay connected, make sure that you text me. Connect to 323-629-8508. You can find me in these internet streets. I'll be letting y'all know when I'm going live, when I'm streaming. Sometimes I do live events as well. So if you want to be on the list and you're in the LA area or who knows where I might pop up, again, text connect to 323-629-8508 and we will be connected. So that is enough of me letting y'all know where I am and what I do and all the things. I really want to jump into this conversation with my dear friend. So I'm going to invite him up to the stage. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
I just did the whole thing in that voice. Hello.
It's all good. Let me tell you what. I'm going to tell you right now. The more I lean into my creative self, I find out she is weird. She's weird. She's very weird. She has different voices.
For sure.
She will make up a song about any old thing. Okay, she will do it all. So bring all the voices and all the characters. They're all welcome here. Thank you so much for joining me, friend.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. So I know it's usually customary in these spaces that we do a big old bio and all of those
Mhm.
things, but this is the space where we're really constantly evolving and creating ourselves from scratch from moment to moment. And what we have done is beautiful and lovely, and we get to build on that and learn from that. But it also doesn't define us.
Mhm.
And as I think I'm certainly in a season, as I mentioned before, the How to Reinvent Yourself series, I'm certainly in a season of real life transformation and integrating my creative identity into how I move through the world. And so much of what I have done thus far, though it has shaped and is certainly informing that transition, it just feels less relevant.
For sure.
It feels like it's becoming like a distant vision in the rear view mirror of my life. Not in a like it's meaningless, I don't care about it way, because much of it I'm still immersed in my day-to-day work. But when I think about who I am and how I want to define and describe myself, a bio just doesn't, it's not quite. So,
Mhm.
anywho, I say that to say I want to leave space for you to define who you are, however that feels true for you right in this moment. So, if we're talking about being seen and being known and that intersection and where they cross and where they don't,
Mhm.
I'd love to start first with what people see, right? What do people see about you? What are you choosing to share? How are you choosing
Yeah.
to show up right now? And maybe what would you think you're most known for in this moment if you think about who you are?
I like that. First of all, I want to say I
Yeah.
applaud you for doing that and saying that because, especially when bios are so formal,
Mhm.
it's only a peek into maybe it's always like a highlight reel for the things that they care about, not necessarily what you care about like that. Right.
Right,
So
right.
um I think that's cool when you ask them, well, how do you see yourself in a sense?
Yeah.
Who are you to people? So I will just label it as far as like I'm a husband, I'm a
Yes.
father,
Yes.
and but let me say most importantly, I'm a proud bonus dad. I'm a proud
Yes.
bonus father. Um, I'm a Christian man. I'm a
Mhm.
creative. I'm an all around creative.
Yes.
Um, and I'm just like a guy who wants peace. I know it's gonna sound corny and cliche, but I'm truly a guy who really wants the world to be at peace and just love one another.
Mm,
It's like, I know it's tough and I know government and life stuff and
sure.
grief and we're dealing with so many things, but like
Mhm.
I'm one of them old school wished of maybe the impossible to be possible where
Yeah.
the world just all kind of get tired of like being nasty and being dirty to one another and just love one another. I hope for a utopia like that. Now, I don't need to get biblical. That's a whole other
Right,
conversation.
right,
but but
right.
but I do hope that for here, for
Yeah,
on this earth in this realm, I
sure.
hope I hope that. So that, and I'm many other things. So, but I don't want get into all that. It's like just
Yeah,
a part of the things you maybe validate me for that, but it's just
mhm,
things.
yeah,
So I'm a human
yeah.
being, and I love to love, and I love my wife and family.
I love that.
You
I
know,
love But also what you're naming about this utopia where we can really just choose to love each other, because that's what it boils
yeah,
down to. Like
for
we're
sure.
just choosing to do that despite the things. It doesn't mean that things are not happening, right?
Right.
It just means that we are choosing to be intentional about how we show up and love each other in the midst of all of it, right? And that's really
Yep.
going back to what I said about what the Daydreaming Out Loud series is all about. It's like, can we pause? Here's what I understand. Since you mentioned it, let me just say this. I think it's
Hmm.
important because it's part of my creative practice, right? Creative, I always say I am most like the creator when I am creating,
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
is me taking a thought that I have, an inspiration, something that I felt, an inclination, and turning that into something that others can experience.
Hmm.
That's, according to biblical,
Yeah.
that's how this all came to be, is how we're all here, right?
Wow.
And so the space of daydreaming in a world of corruption and chaos and all that, it often keeps us so bogged down with what you mentioned, the politics of it and the responsibilities of
Mhm.
still trying to show up as a partner and a parent and make sure you're doing the things and all of that. We can get so buried underneath that we don't get to tap into that creative part of ourselves that I do
No.
is
Yeah.
the extension and expression of our most divine truth. And so the space of daydreaming is like accessing the world, not the one that we're currently in and struggling through,
Yeah.
but the possibility for the one that we can still create, and really owning our opportunity to make a contribution to that world
Yeah.
in a way that
Yeah.
feels like the deepest truth that we can access from moment to moment, right?
You know what's the ill about that too? Like, and how we view, it's all about perspective. When
Yeah,
the way you see life, and the way you see life from however you view it. So
sure.
my thing is, it's like I want to see peace and love for the world this world that you and I are sitting and talking on, right? This plane
Yep.
here.
Hmm.
Um, so I understand though, I don't control the world and I can't control the world, but I
Sure.
can somewhat influence or shift a little bit the spaces that I'm in, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
so what happens is if you take that love and that care, that compassion for how you see the world or how you would like to see the world,
Mhm.
and you maybe do that for the person you're dealing with at the time. And I mean
Yeah.
dealing with any kind of way, whether it's a
Yeah, just
stranger, whether it's
interacting with, having a
interacting
conversation
with,
with, do
right?
whatever.
So
Mhm.
for that person or that time, or depending on what goes on, you have made the world perfect for them in that moment. So in
Yes.
that moment, there was a utopia thing happening. For that
Yes.
moment, when you help somebody, when you do the old school movie, walk the old lady across the street thing, or the
Yeah.
whatever you did
Yeah.
for that person,
Yeah.
you have made a utopia for that person. For that
Yeah.
person, it's like when you down on your luck or something, or dealing with some things, and that one person, whoever that person is,
Yes. You
rubs you on
are.
your back and say it's gonna be okay. That
Yes.
feeling that comes over you. So,
Yes.
so if you
Yes.
can create that moment for individuals, then that for me, that's quite all right. That's cool for me. You know what I mean? Because you can't change the.
100%.
So I think
All
that's dope to look at like that.
everything is temporary anyway. So whatever impact I can have in this moment is,
Yeah,
could be
beautiful.
somebody's last moment, right? And so
Right.
I love that. It reminds me of the scene in Sinners, at the very, very, it's like one of the bonus scenes
Hmm.
where Stack and Mary go and see
The bar.
Sammy
Hmm.
at the bar,
Hmm.
and they reminisce like that was a terrible night, but for a moment we was free.
Yep. He said
Like
before
that
the sun,
one,
before
we
the
had
sun
that
came.
one
Yep.
moment before it
Yep.
got crazy.
Before the sun came down. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we had that one moment where we had that feeling that we have
Yep.
been chasing, right?
Yep.
So I love that you said that, because I think it is important for us to remember that, and I think entering each day with that as a conscious
Mhm.
choice to say, like, I can co-create the experience that I have today, even if things come my way that don't feel good,
Yeah.
that I don't like, that or whatever. I can still choose to show up in a manner that is radiating and aligning with what love looks like and feels like. So I love that, and I
Yeah,
appreciate you.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yes,
I am trying to change every day. I'm growing and trying to change the way I'm always trying to better myself in
sure.
I'm in constant work of myself. I'm in constant work of trying to be better. How can I be better? So even having these conversations help me because in therapy, I like to just talk.
Yeah.
I tell my therapist, like, if you just let me talk, then
I'll figure it out.
eventually I'll figure it out.
Yep.
But I also love her expertise. My therapist is the black woman. I
Yeah.
also love her expertise in how she's assessing what I'm saying. Right. So,
Yes.
but usually I talk so much, and then I'm like, wait a minute, okay, if I wait a minute, okay, I could have did that like
Talk
that.
yourself.
She'd be like, see, right?
And
So,
that's
you know,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. I always tell people our deepest truths are always already within us. They're just
mm,
buried under our lies, our fears, our pain,
for sure.
the expectation that it should be something else. So we're not recognizing and
Yep.
appreciating what it actually is and maximizing that. Like,
Mhm.
I always tell people, and this is even as a therapist, I tell people, I am a professional, but you are the expert. You know you better than I ever
Yeah,
will.
I like that. Yeah, I
So
like
while
that.
you're coming to me for answers, all I have is more questions. And I believe that my professionalism and my expertise around this work
Yeah.
will help guide you home to the truth within yourself,
You just
right?
messed me up with that. You just said, damn, you said I'm the therapist, but you're the expert.
Yeah, I'm the
Because you
professional,
come
but
to the
you're the
table
expert.
knowing the answers are in you. In fact,
Absolutely.
there is no I don't have them.
I don't
They
have them.
in you.
I don't have your answers. Those are yours.
Yours, right?
Mhm.
I
This
love
is
that.
Yeah, so that's my orientation and how I approach the work, but it's
Mhm,
also the scene and the setting that I create, because I want people, part of what I think is most therapeutic
mhm,
in whatever path you take, whether it's talk therapy or some other thing, the thing that I think is most therapeutic is when we begin to trust ourselves, when we don't outsource the answers to someone,
mm,
when we
yeah,
don't outsource what we know to be true for somebody else's validation of
mhm,
that truth, when we begin to develop a relationship with the truth that is within us, that is so deep that we can access it and trust it to help us move through the world,
yeah.
right? And so
Wow.
I need to set that orientation from the beginning. Don't come in here looking to me for answers, because I don't have them. Yeah, I'm gonna
Right.
tell you that. That's for free. I'm not even gonna charge you for that one. That one's for free. I don't have your answers.
Right.
Okay. But I do have some questions that are going to help you find your own answers. And then
Mhm,
we're going to develop a pathway for you to trust yourself so that when you encounter those answers, you can integrate them. Because we
mm,
don't just hear the word, we heed the word. Once I hear it, I got to do something with it.
right.
So if a truth comes up and
Wow.
I shut it down, what it don't matter.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is the orientation, and I'm glad that you have a space where you can, because I too am a verbal processor,
Mhm.
right? I got voice notes for days of me just talking through an idea until something clicks and I'm like, there it is,
Yep.
right? There it is, but I need to talk it through. So shout out to you for having that space, and shout out to your therapist for holding that space. So as you're going through that, I'm going to tell you, as somebody who walks people home through the
Mhm,
therapeutic process, but also as somebody who was in that and on that journey with my own therapist for 14 or 15 years before I finally terminated.
mhm.
I know how much change and evolving takes place on that journey. So what I would like to ask you, there's what people see, right? You as a
Yeah.
husband, a father, and a creative and a Christian, right? Like, there's that version of you, what people see. But I'm also curious about is what is missed, what's
Yeah.
misunderstood. Because as you're on this journey of evolving, I can even talk, first of all, just your name itself. You used to go by bad luck, now go by good luck. Now
Yeah.
I see lucky. We just out here,
Right. Right.
right? We just out here making it up, and as we should,
Yeah, yeah. I think
right?
that's
What's
part of the
missing?
growth, right? Not not
Yeah.
not holding on to something just because. Here's the thing. I I kept Bad Luck the name so long
Yeah.
because people knew me by it.
Yep.
Had nothing to do with what I wanted anymore.
Yeah. Ooh, that's first of all, hold on. You just hold on right there because when I observe myself
Mm.
and when I'm in a crossroads or a sticky moment where I'm like, oh, what do I do? I cannot tell you how many times recently I've caught myself saying to myself, when I'm making the true decision that feels aligned with what I actually want,
Mhm.
the story that will come up so quickly that I've been noticing a lot recently is, well, I don't want people to think, fill in the blank.
Mm.
I want to do this thing, but I don't want people to think something idea.
Right.
And when I catch myself saying that, I'm having to gently but firmly say, we don't care about that. We don't care. If what people thinks about how you're supposed to show up means you have to shrink or cut off parts of yourself, we don't care
Yeah.
what they think. And when I hear you say, I held on to that name because other people had this expectation or idea of me, so I did not allow my own truth to take precedence or be prioritized. How many times have we shrunk or cut off parts of ourselves to fit into somebody else's story of who we get to be?
Yeah. Yeah. A whole lot.
Yeah. And I'm done. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to tell you one more thing while
Mm.
we're in this because it's landing on me how broad this theme really is in my life at this moment. I was thinking just then about it in the context of creativity, but I'm going to take it a step further because just this morning I was going over a conversation exchange that I had yesterday, as I tend to do because I like to be accountable. How did I show up? Did I am I being in integrity with who I say I am and how I show
Mhm.
up with other people? So as I was replaying this conversation and just sort of thinking about how, because I was still sitting with some emotions attached to it, so I was processing that. And I heard myself say to myself, said, am I doing too much?
Mm.
And instantly, I'm going to tell you what, instantly, the answer was yes, you're a lot. Yep,
Mm.
you are a lot. And I'm 44 and some change.
Right, right.
And for the first time, I allowed myself to be okay with that. You are a lot. You bring a lot. You know what it takes to be in with yourself, to sit with yourself and all that you bring. You observe your thoughts. You check in with your feelings. You do this work. And you know what it takes for you to stay grounded in doing your work. And you know that it's a lot. So when other people are experience your allotness, let them.
Right.
Let them. Because that is how you're going to know if they can hold all that you bring. And if they cannot, that is
Mm.
okay. But if you constantly choose to shrink yourself because you're saying, I'm a lot, I'm too much, you're deciding for somebody else what they can handle.
For sure.
So I today said, yes, I probably did do too much because I'm a lot. And I saw a meme some time ago that popped up in my head immediately after. Because if I'm too much, then go find less.
I love that.
Go find
If
less.
I'm too much, then go find
Yeah,
less.
go find less. Less, whatever I'm too
Right.
much for you, go somewhere and find less of that
Yeah.
with somebody else. But I'm not doing it.
Wow.
I'm not going to become less because you can't handle the more.
What is it about us that because before I get to the bad luck name change, or metaphorically before I get to that time, that
Yes.
that spot where I'm not going to do it no more, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Oof.
like, but you go through so many times fighting
Yeah.
to get there. Like if somebody, it's so many conversations. Look, from the time somebody, we talked about the name change, and I met Scarface that time. So from the time that happened
Yeah.
to the time I changed my name, it was years,
Yes.
years upon years upon years,
Yes.
and I never forgot about the original time I thought about changing it. That was the
Yeah.
time, and then I got but also things happen in your life. You grow, you experience things, and
Sure.
then you make that decision when you make that decision, right? But also, I did fight for so long to knowing that I didn't want that no more. But also, they know me by this.
Yes.
You know what? I remember my friend Bird. Bird is the CEO of Diamond Lane Records, right? My crew,
Yes.
for the people who don't know, I was on a record label called
Yes.
Diamond Lane Music Group, and my CEO is one of my best friends named Bird. Bird gave me an analogy one time when I was trying to put out a song years ago, and I was trying to put out a song outside of the order of songs when songs were supposed to come out. I just wanted to
Okay.
put something out because I had it. Now this was before rappers are dropping thousands of songs every week, right? So
Sure.
I was in the last genre before that started happening, right before streaming.
Okay.
And
Okay. Ooh,
I want
that's
to put
great.
this song out, and I was like, I want to put that song out, and he was like, but why? Like, why right now? I said, man, because people telling me they like the song, and people they DMing me, they texting me, they said they love the song, and he was like, who love the song? I said, man, people been hitting me, a lot of people been hitting me. He said, what's a lot of people? And then I was like, I don't know, I can't even count. So in my mind, I have everybody been telling me this song is the one. So he started asking me. He said, look, how many followers you got on Twitter? And I said, at the time, I remember I said I had 15,000 at the time. And he said, how many people are in LA? You think? And I said, I don't know. He said, what, million to 10 million? I don't know, about 1 million, two? I don't know. Sound of millions probably. He said, what about California? And then he said, what about the United States? Right? And I was intrigued with the conversation. We trying to guess numbers. He said, in the most like regular tone, he said, nigga, don't nobody know you.
Please.
It was the most kind of like, it was so honest. It's so like, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but
Yeah,
a
like,
reality
let's keep
check.
this in perspective, please.
Please, because 10 people hit you and told you this
Please. Please. You think I'm gonna throw thousands of dollars behind pushing this song out on the radio and do all this for 10 people who
you opened your mouth and said the world is ready for luck. The world is ready. The world, right? So I mean, I felt like right in that moment, I felt one stupid, but also I felt like yeah, he right. Like, what am I doing? Because he wasn't trying to be mean. He was just giving me a perspective.
Yeah,
Let me
zoom
offer
out.
you.
Zoom
You're
out. In this moment. Zoom out of this. What's really going on?
Get out of your own world. Your view is not the world view.
But also, let me say this: your view is not even your view. It is your experience in an instance, right? And what you're describing, I think both of those decisions, the decision to hold on to the name longer than you really felt like it fit, and also this move to like put the song out because everybody, quote unquote, wants it, right?
Right.
I think both of those decisions are coming from the same place, which is there are people out there whose validation, approval, opinion, perception, whatever of me matters.
Yeah.
And so I'm making choices to appease and appeal to that. Whether that's holding a name that doesn't feel true or releasing a song that might not be ready because the people are reflecting back to me a certain thing.
Right.
My inclination is to respond to that and prioritize that. And I think that that's what's happening in both of those instances. And I think that that's really tied to what we all have, which is a need for belonging and acceptance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for
and
sure.
This is what the people want, and this is how the people know me, and this is where because it's not just the name. Right. It is the life you've built as that persona.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
if I just change it,
So,
how many
yeah,
of these people will stick around? How many of these people will care
yeah,
and
yeah,
accept me as this new me that they don't
yep,
know?
yep,
Right? So it's not just a name change, it's everything that comes with that name that's attached to it that we sometimes feel like we're afraid to walk away from, and may not necessarily trust that we can build a new name for ourselves, which
for
is a whole
sure.
different thing.
Yep. Scared to
Right?
start over. I've seen people stay in relationships because they didn't want to find nobody new. I don't want to find nobody new.
Mhm. Let me tell you, do
That's a
not
whole nother, that's a whole nother.
still be on here until next.
That's a
Okay?
whole nother, right.
Just say, and because we have stories
Hmm.
attached to our identity, that when, if you watch any good film or read any good book or TV or whatever,
Hmm.
there's always a plot twist.
Always.
There's
Yeah.
always a moment that you were like, wait a minute.
Right.
Right? And so
Yep.
we get so attached to the story as it is that when the plot twist wants to present itself, we resist it because we're afraid of what it means to exist on the
For
other
sure.
side of that.
For sure.
Because we are inside of a narrative that is still being written every single day.
Hmm.
Right? And so sometimes, it's that piece of like, it's hard to let go. Right? It's really,
Yeah.
really hard to let go. But in the midst of that, then what would you say people often get wrong about you?
Mm. I don't think people know. I always pride myself in being a teddy bear. I don't
Oh,
think people know I'm as I'm an adult now, so I can say this and it means just what it means. I'm as soft as I am.
yeah,
I'm not the mean, aggressive street dude. I'm a teddy bear. Like I like to love, I like to hug, I like to cry, I'm that guy.
yeah.
And
Oh,
I
it's so.
think what happened was I'm being shaped by the nature of who I am
Mm.
is much more softer than the aggressive hard side I learned from street life.
Mm. So the nature of who you are is different from the narrative that you were told about who you needed to be.
For sure, 100%. 100%. Who I was
Mm.
raised around, how I came up, the guys I was raised around, the so-called rules and roles of who's who and what's tough and
Mm.
all that. It's like I was just enough to pick up some of it, but not I wasn't all the way in to start doing a lot of it. Right. So
Yeah.
I didn't, that's why I stayed out of jail. I didn't steal drugs. I didn't do none of that. Right. But also demeanor, fighting, certain kind of stuff. I was that. But like Joy, we spent enough time together in school
Yeah.
and out
Yeah.
of school for you to never look at me as a street nigga or a bad kid.
Right.
Like
That's why I'm like, it
it's
doesn't
the
shock
nature of
me
who I
when you
am.
say, yeah, it's not like I'm shocked when you say
For
teddy bear,
sure.
'cause that's how I experience you just as my real life friend,
For sure.
right?
For sure.
And also,
Hmm.
I get it because I can see you, my friend Terrence,
Hmm.
and then I can see the persona of the bad luck right
I don't know what
rap
bad luck
artist,
was. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
right? And in the context, and this is again why I'm always going to advocate for, you gotta, in order to really appreciate the art, you
Hmm.
gotta you gotta explore the artist. You gotta
Yeah.
kind of get into their inner world,
For sure.
because it's not until it's like when you see that film and you're like, I remember we were all like, wait a minute, you talking about half the people on the wire was from England?
Right. Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
What?
Yeah.
Like it just, we were like, wait a minute.
For sure.
So it's the same thing. It's like when I know you, the person, when I
Hmm.
then can appreciate what you're able to do with the art of rapping by becoming this whole other persona
Hmm.
to tell the story, to create the experience, whatever it is. And it's not until I really know the truth of who you are that I can really appreciate the art that you're able to create.
You
Right.
know. You know.
Because it does. And when you are good at what you
Mhm.
do, people do conflate. You've seen the actor who you hate on whatever show, you see him
Yep.
in person, or you see him in a whole nother movie, they playing a whole different character, and you like, I don't like him.
You know
Because
and
I'll make you something else.
what's interesting is that so when I talked about my YouTube page and my subscribers and all that stuff like that, right? But I talked
Yeah.
about I talk about. So what you don't know is real short story. What you don't know is I started doing reaction videos, right? Where you
Mm.
watch something and react to something, whatever, right?
Yes. Yep.
So I was doing a bunch of videos, just trying to figure stuff out, and I ended up doing a reaction video to this heavy metal drummer, and I was so intrigued by the drummer, I started looking up heavy metal stuff, and I was like, man, I never got into heavy metal. How did I just not listen to a whole genre of music, right?
Yeah.
And then so I dove in, and not only did I dive in, I'm like, wait a minute, I like it here.
Yeah, this might be my jam.
This might be my thing. So I'm listening. So as I'm doing reaction to these videos, the people started responding. The community, metal community.
Yeah.
So I went from 1,500 subscribers. I remember 1,500 subscribers to what 8,000 in like a month or two.
Wow.
And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? And then so the community was responding. They love to see me talk about metal. They like to see me talk about breaking down. And I'm a musician and a songwriter.
Yes.
So there's the technical side I'm breaking down of why this is this and guitars and drums and this and songwriting aspect. So that's happening. To my point, metal, when I'm bad luck, there's a persona there, right? Now, the hip hop community, they surround a persona and they take you as is. This is what we see. You must be that, right? If we see you in a video with 100 Crips and gangsters, then you're a Crip from that hood, right?
Right.
In metal, though, you can dress up as a character, as a design. For example, Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, right?
Yes.
Black Sabbath, when Black Sabbath came out, parents and teachers are like, get them out here. They satanic. They worship the devil. He's called the Prince of Darkness, right?
Right.
What Black Sabbath didn't understand was they're like, yo, Satan, we not doing none of that. That's not what we believe in. We don't believe in none of that.
Yeah.
That's not what they did. Or when you see characters, heavy metal characters, and they're like dressed in costumes, or you see Kiss, they're like, no, that's just an outfit. That's a thing.
And all that, yeah.
On stage with this, and if you see me in the mall, I'm Pete or whoever the guy is, whoever, right? But
regular Pete,
regular, right? But they don't take them as that either. They don't take that person's not. He don't believe in the devil. He's playing a role, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, I say that to say that's part of how a lot of us do out here. Because in my community, we all like, if you play for example, Joy.
Yeah.
You are a therapist, and if people if people take you by your Instagram and your in interviews or whatever, they will see you as one way. So so here's the thing, right? A guy approaches you in the club. There's an intimidation there already. Well, not the club, wherever. There's an intimidation already because he assumes that you like a certain type because you're upper echelons of thinking, intelligent, all these things. Not that you're not, but just like, what if Joy likes a young street nigga? Just what if? Like, or what if
me a YN right quick?
What if you just like that? But I'm saying, but because you have a to them, you have a look and a persona about yourself. They're adjusting to that because you must be that. Because in our community, what do you mean you're not that?
The story that you're telling about
what do you mean?
And based on, and this is why it's seen and known, because you see me, and you see specifically what I choose to share, which I have had to reconcile lately in having this conversation with myself internally, that I have participated in what people see and therefore what they think they know, right? Because of the ways that I have been selective in the parts of myself that I share, which I don't think is a bad thing, because not everybody needs to access all the parts of me, right? We talked before we went live about how, just as my friend, over a long period of time from high school through adulthood, we've seen each other through various seasons, and we've had conversations that have called for different parts of me to be present. And a lot of people don't know that I'm quite funny, actually. I'm quite funny. But it's not a thing that I necessarily, the sillier side of me isn't necessarily something that I lead with. Because there is a part of me that needs to feel safe, because that type of the parts of me that bring me the most joy are sacred to me, and it's vulnerable to share that. And I don't necessarily offer that openly and publicly for whatever reasons. And I can't even necessarily say that it's intentional or conscious, but as I sit and think about it, as I told you I've
Mhm.
been doing, it that's what occurs to me, that that's part of the reason why. But
Yeah.
all of that to say, there are versions of me that have not met the public eye, and so I have to admit that I have created and participated in creating whatever story people hold about who I am,
Yeah.
because I've really chosen to share parts of myself. But I also want to recognize that I can choose to share more parts of me.
Mhm.
And if that disrupts somebody else's story about who I am, I'm not responsible for
Not at
cleaning that.
all.
And I think that's
Yep.
the part that we're talking about in terms of these moments where we're confronted with, you have this misunderstanding of who I am, partly because of how I've shown up and what that means about the story you created. And all of that is okay. And when I choose to show this other side of me, however you feel about that is really none of my business.
Right. Right.
It's none of my
Yeah.
business, because I'm just being who I actually have always been, and I'm now choosing to share and open up. And what I hear you saying about the metal community is that there might be more of an opportunity for folks to make that distinction and differentiation, like who you are on stage and the makeup and the hair and the screaming and whatever other things are going on
Mhm.
while you're performing is not necessarily who you are when you're at the mall with your kids.
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
different person. It's a
Yeah.
different person. And we have to remember that as artists, often what people see is not necessarily what, I don't want to say not necessarily true, but it's not necessarily what we hoped people would know. So
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
that's what I want to say. I want to get into, because I know that in this conversation of like, it sounds like you were genuinely interested in rock, and then you did this reaction video and you got this response. I want to share this really quickly, because this is really what inspired. You and I had a conversation, I don't know, whenever it was, over a year ago for sure.
Mhm.
We were both sort of getting into streaming and doing all this, and the conversation was specifically about how we approach creating when things that we want to share
Yeah.
are maybe not the things that are performing the best when it comes to the analytics and the
Yeah. Yeah.
algorithm.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yep.
so when we're wrestling with, again, when we live in a creative climate, in a creative culture where clicks are currency, and we're wanting to create a life around being able to, share our art,
Mhm.
we do have to be mindful of, as adults who have responsibilities, we have to be mindful of how we're going to take care of those things financially.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
have to kind of like, okay, what's this saying? Is this a feasible thing that I could really be investing this much time in
Mhm.
terms of what the return on that investment is financially and otherwise? And where's the line between navigating that and just really allowing your art to be what you want it to be,
Yeah.
right? And not becoming a prison because now I have to perform to my audience or to the analytics, and the art that I really wanted to create again takes a back burner, and the creative space becomes less of a safe haven and more of a prison.
Yeah.
Real, right?
That. Yeah. For sure. I think that happens all the time, every day, with someone's new thing, with someone's newfound purpose, with someone's gift. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's you start to it's like getting it's like I want to do photography, and but I also need to pay my bills.
Correct.
So
Correct.
so
Correct.
like work is starting to take away from that new thing I want to do, and I
Yeah.
can't just do the new thing because I gotta do the job thing.
Right.
Right
Right.
now, here's what happens. What if the new things start taking off a little bit?
Yeah.
Now the which goes to another conversation. The new thing takes off, and then you start to make money doing the new thing, right?
Yep.
But now the new thing is in high demand,
Yeah.
right? Now you're dealing with clients and customers and complaints and people
Mm-hmm.
DMing you, texting you. Family members don't they want a free one or whatever the case may be, and then now you like, I don't even know if I even like this thing no more.
Yes, it was supposed to be my escape, and now it becomes my prison. It
Yeah,
just it becomes like,
because for sure you put it in the once you put it in the system of like commodity of like product of like sales and stuff like that, then it's like you have no control on what happens at that point. And then what happens is you find out what happens when I did a video a while ago talking about, and I'm talking about Drew. I did a video about why you shouldn't always monetize your passion.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We talked about that. We talked about that. So
yeah, he and I have had that conversation as well.
Yeah.
Shout out to Drew.
For sure. So that thing happens, when it comes to who we are as
Sure.
people trying to figure ourselves out, trying to navigate our growth and our changes, right? It's a challenge sometimes not knowing why, a feeling you want to change something or being a stickler about why you're not changing it, right?
Yep.
Like me and my name, or like why it was hard to go from rap to anything other than rap.
Yeah.
Right? Look how my YouTube page started off from I did photography videos and vlogs, and then I do a rock video, and now it's all rock. Now I happen to love it,
Right.
But I'm like, now I'm on. That's that. It's just gonna be that. But now, thankfully, I love it. But if I didn't, then what do? I gotta stick with this.
But also, right. Which is okay. So I think this is interesting because I think that's the sweet spot, right?
Mhm.
What you just named is I gave myself permission to show up differently. I could have just done what I was doing because that was what it was doing. But I gave myself permission to show up differently. And by my surprise, that was the thing that skyrocketed. And now this thing that I'm genuinely curious about and interested in is something I get to spend more time exploring and learning about. And in the process, I'm growing my audience, which only means opportunities for monetizing and then using this as a space where I can really fund my life. That just grows. I just grow in my opportunities to do that. And you're not having to compromise or sacrifice your true self and the art that you want to create in the name of serving an algorithm or the analytics, right? And so that's the beauty and the joy of choosing to show up and give yourself permission to evolve, that you never know what's going to click and what's going to stick and what's going to really blow you up. And when we shrink ourselves into an idea of who we think we need to be, because we think our audience needs us to be that, we think our audience expects us to be that, instead of just being like, yo, this is what it is, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm on. Hey, you coming or not? Right? Like this is what this
What you saying that though, that's what I found out in real time. That's the key for what works when it comes to that. For example, your audience, I'm talking people who are with you, right?
Yeah.
What they respect overall, before anything, is your honesty.
Yeah.
That's so if they will go with you anywhere if you are honest.
You tell the truth about where we're going. Yeah.
If I like Dr. Joy, because look, listen, you've presented yourself in a way to where people like how you think.
Yeah.
If people like how that's why Dave Chappelle wins in comedy.
Yeah. Oh,
everybody's telling jokes. Right. But we like how he thinks, how the story comes across when he tells it. If they like how you think, that means they like how your mind works. Joy, you can tell me you're doing a podcast or interview about anything. I'm watching it. Because I already like how you think. Now I get to see what you think you listen to some songs in metal and you're about to break down what you think about these songs. I need to know. I've never saw Joy think about metal or this thing or whatever. So if you're honest about that, people told me that my reaction videos, they said, look, I've watched hundreds of reaction videos. I like reaction videos. They said, why I keep coming back here is because of you.
Yes.
Not because I can find a reaction video anywhere. He said, it's only one you. And he told me in the comment, it made me feel good. But also it was like, because
it's a reminder.
I'm
the only one with this perspective.
I'm the only one with this perspective.
Yeah, I'm the only one with this set of experience that colors the way I'm understanding what I'm here and the language to talk about it the way
you can only go here. If you want a Luck burger, you gotta go to Luck's.
You gotta
go to Luck's. So if you want the Joy sandwich, you gotta go to Joy.
Come on, Joy sandwich. You
got to, right? So it's like I think that helped me so much. But the honesty, here's the thing: the honesty has to start. You have to be honest with yourself first.
There it is.
To you, like you said you have to give yourself the permission. The honesty start before that.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And you got and not before that, like in Trump said. I'm saying like you have to be honest of what you're feeling, what's going on, and
Yeah.
then you have to give yourself permission to do exactly what you're thinking about, right?
Yep.
And if that's a name change, let it
Yep.
be.
Yep.
I don't care about what y'all think about that because
Yep.
you won't suffer in it like I will.
Yep.
It actually
Oh,
actually
see,
you've been watching me suffer the whole time.
the whole time. And to your point, what audiences want is your honesty.
It was your honesty.
And the root word of honesty is honor.
Hmm. For sure.
And to honor your art, if that is what you're sharing with your audience, it requires you to not shrink it down or shave it off into something that you think it's supposed to be.
Right.
You have to give it permission to show up exactly as it is, even when it's messy, even when it's incomplete, even when it's not quite sure, even when it's not what you thought it was going to be,
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
When the art is saying, this is what I am, this is where I am, this is how I demand to be seen, you have to show up and share that. And that is what your audience will always appreciate. And I think we get to, and what this conversation is reminding me of, is the importance of honoring the art and therefore being honest with ourselves as the vessel through which that art is going to meet the world,
Mhm.
and trusting that our audience, whomever they may be, whether they're the ones who came with us and met us along the journey thus far,
Mhm.
or the ones who are on their way and who will not meet us until we go to the next place,
Right.
trusting that the art is going to find and meet them, because it really is just a truth that needs a place to land,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we have, the audience is a group of people that we made up and that is always changing, evolving, and growing, even if the people themselves don't, in terms of like who's in and who's out, even if they've been in the whole time. If you've been rocking with me since, now if you look on this YouTube channel,
Mhm.
I started it, I think, in 2015 with a whole bunch of different series that I've tried and this and that. And even as I thought to revive it last year, I was like, do I start a new one or do I erase everything? And I just say, you know what? This is the journey. Whoever finds me, whenever they found me, there will be
Yeah.
people who came from back then. There will be people who just find me. There will be people. I want you to
Yeah.
see. I want y'all to see when I was talking into my MacBook camera about whatever, you know, using those pop
Right.
art filters to make whatever. Like, I want you to see all that. So I deeply appreciate your reflections and the reminder to tell the truth, first and foremost to
Man.
ourselves, and then through our art to other people. So recognizing that, I know that we to your point about responsibilities and things to do. I know that we need to be wrapping up, but I do want to ask you this.
Mhm.
If we're talking about reclaiming agency over the narrative of who we are,
Okay.
and not allowing our desire to feel connected and accepted and a sense of belonging to define how we get to show up, and trusting that as we tell the truth, our people will find us across and throughout the seasons of our lives. If that's what we're talking about, I want to ask you, what is one thing that you wish people knew? So you said earlier, people probably don't know that I'm a teddy
Oh,
bear.
okay.
But what is one thing that you wish people knew about you?
Oh, one thing for sure, and let me know if this answers your question.
Yeah.
I wish people knew I was a giver.
Mm.
What I mean by that is that I don't have much. You know,
Yeah.
when I talk about much, I mean like resources and financial.
Sure.
And so my everyday of thinking about making money or getting resources is because of family and people, right?
Yeah.
So I strive to make a lot of money. I don't think about big old fancy cars and mansions and all kind of things. And like
Yeah.
my everyday thinking about money in most ways, it's about my family. And
Yeah.
I wish I had this so I could give it to him or her or
Yeah.
her or who, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
because I know that every time I hear that somebody needs something, I
Hmm.
always in my head, I wish I had it to give it to him. I
Yeah.
wish I had the resources to do that or do this one thing. And like even when I pray, I ask for God to bless me with a lot so I can give it all back, so I can give it all away. You know what I mean? And I know that I understand that God has a plan for me and that He'll work it out however He sees fit.
Sure.
But I know when it comes to who I am, um, that's one thing I know that I, it's like it's like a pre thing. So if you ask me about who I am, what I wish they knew about me, right? Like I talk about being a softie and
Yeah.
I'm a little softer than people think. But as far as like and other than the pride of who I am with my family, I love being a husband. I love being.
Sure.
I don't just love being married. I love being a husband.
Yes.
I love my son and I love my family. But I do want to. I just want to give. I want to give. I want to give. I want to give. I want to give till I have nothing. I want to give till I have nothing. That's one. I don't know if that answers your question specifically, but that's one thing I think about for sure. That I wish
Yeah.
people knew it, and I can't wait to get it. So when I think about wait till I get my money, right? That's what I
Right.
think about. I think about
Yes.
that all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. We could go so many places just from that statement, but I want to um, just appreciate you for being here, for saying yes to this conversation, for always showing up and opening up in the most honest way. I hate that we have to end so soon today, but that also just means we get to do this again.
For
You know,
sure,
I'll show up to whatever you got going on.
for
You know,
sure.
always holler at me. Okay, you already know. So
And
whatever
can I
you
say?
got
Can
going
I
on.
say also? I appreciate you. I
Yes,
love you. I
I
am
love.
ridiculously proud of you.
Oh,
I'm so proud of who you become, the woman you become. I watched you go from a young girl, a young funny girl, to a grown adult, beautiful, intelligent woman, and I'm so amazed. And also, I'm still so excited about what you're going to do tomorrow. Right.
yeah,
So I think it's amazing. I think you're amazing, and it's so dope to know and it's an honor to have a friend like you, and I mean that seriously.
yeah. Same. That is received and returned. I deeply appreciate your presence, your perspective, and
Thank
your art.
you. Thank you.
So, for those watching live or the playback, keep in touch with us. You can follow us on the socials. I am at Joy Hearts. He is at Bad Luck 354. Well, we already had that discussion about the name change, so y'all
Yeah,
know
for
what it
sure.
is.
For sure.
Y'all know what it is.
Right.
Y'all know. But yeah, man, thanks again so much. I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation. And if you don't have any parting words for the people, I just want to say, be well until next time. Okay, folks. So that is seen and known. This is our episode, sell out. We were talking about, oftentimes this theme of selling out is, when people compromise their art or their truth in the name of making money, growing their audience, getting clout, whatever the things are that people sell out for. And then again, a climate and in a creative climate where clicks are currency, we really have to ask ourselves, like, am I compromising my art for the algorithm or for what the analytics say about what the audience wants? And does that feel like the true choice for me? Because we recognize that there might be some tension if you're creating a space where you need to monetize because you have financial responsibilities. We want to recognize and honor and respect that tension, but also call ourselves to a place where we can answer honestly about how much our audience and the analytics and the algorithm is informing our art, so that we understand, is my art meant to be a space where I can escape and imagine, and if I turn it into a project where I am wanting to grow my brand or my audience, how does that impact my experience of creating and what I ultimately share in the world? And just answering those questions honestly is the conclusion. That as long as you're being honest, then you know the art can be a place of peace. And if you're being honest about why you're creating it and what informs your creative process, you can find peace. And so I'll share with you this last reflection. It's a thought that I pulled from my own Threads feed that I posted in April of last year. It says, creativity is about expression, not perfection. But when content is commerce, it's easy to internalize the idea that what you produce has to translate to profit. Inevitably, then, your expression is tainted by others' expectations, which only serves to chip away at originality. More specifically, it robs us of the joy of bringing our imagination to life. And so, if creating art for you is about the joy of imagining, then I highly encourage you to consider what things you are thinking about when you enter your creative process and what that means for what you offer to the world. And that's certainly what I will be thinking about. And once again, I invite you to join me here. Click subscribe on my channel and make sure you check out my lives tab. That's where I'm going to be doing a lot of these conversations, seen and known, how to reinvent yourself, daydreaming out loud, and so much more right here on YouTube. So I hope that you will join me on the journey. I appreciate you being present for this moment. Please let me know your thoughts, questions, and reflections. And until next time.